everyone. My name is Elsa Manlangit. I'm one of the co-founders of JAE Learning, and I am here today with two of my very good friends whom I've been working with through the years. And our topic for today is about J1 teachers who decided to go back home to the Philippines and decided to come back here in the United States and go back home again.
Oo
So
nga,
this is
ano.
our topic for tonight. I mean today. And let's learn about them in their journey. So sige, let's do some introductions. Si Brandon muna.
Hi, my name is Brandon. So I'm a special ed teacher. I primarily work with kids with dyslexia. So for the longest time, I worked with Elsa and CJ in Quezon City in a school called Word Lab. So we were all workmates there from uh, long ago. So
Long ago.
long ago, I
Very
went.
long
I
ago.
very long ago. I went to the States for the first time way back in 2006. And I think during that time, I already parang considered myself as one of the late goers because a lot like Elsa was one of the first few who moved to the States very early on in the last century pa.
Huwag mo masyadong i-reveal ang ating mga edad.
In the past century. And then I decided to move back after 2 years, back to the Philippines. And then I thought about my experience, my first experience, and after about 5 or 6 years, I decided to uh, return to the United States, thinking it was like an unfinished business for me. So I stayed for longer, but in 2019, I again decided to move back to the Philippines for many other different reasons. So that's my ano, konting history about my journey so far.
Oh, okay. Sige. We will ask more questions about your journey and talk about it in depth in a bit.
Or
So our next guest for today is CJ. Before CJ introduces herself, alam nyo, si CJ ang may kasalanan kaya nandito ako sa Amerika. Dahil nung nag-apply si CJ, inaya niya ako.
oh,
But I was not serious about applying here. So kung
Hmm,
ano yung ginawa ni CJ,
ginaya
ginaya-gaya
mo
ko lang
lang.
siya. Nag,
talaga yun pala yun,
oo, nag-fill up siya ng form, nag-fill up din ako. Sabi niya sa akin, Hoy Elsa, get ready, there's an interview. Oh, may interview daw. O sige, sama naman ako sa kanya. So lahat ng ginawa niya, sinunod ko lang. And I ended up here.
Yay!
Yay! So ito si CJ. CJ will introduce herself.
Hello, I am CJ, and then my journey to my J1 visa experience in the US started in 2001. I have always wanted to try working in the US. I mean, living all the experience of life in the US. And one way of doing that is by teaching. So uh, I started in 2001, stayed there for 3 years because that's how our visa was, no? I mean, that's how long our visa was. It was good for
During
3
that
years.
time.
Oo. And then I went back home. And then 14 years later, nangati ulit yung pa ako. Gusto ko ulit mag-America. So I went back 2016 and came home 2019. Since this has been a dream of trying to live abroad since 1998, I think, or even before that, I have been applying, but I was not able to get the job for maybe two trials until I got it through Elsa's help, who helped me answer some questions because she was interviewed first. And so she knew the questions already. She shared with me the questions. So thank you, Elsa.
Oh, you are welcome.
Mm-mm,
So you'll see our journeys are all connected. At
mm-mm.
some point, we all worked together in the Philippines. We separated ways. Um, because when CJ was here, she decided to go back and I decided to stay. And so we separate ways, but we remained friends through the years. And whenever they decided to come back to the United States, we would always meet up, no matter what state they are assigned to. Um,
Right.
because for the longest time, I've been in California. And so they have been visiting me. Or there was a point where I visited them. So I
Yeah.
went to Florida one time to visit and other places. So we always kept in touch.
Right.
So I know we all started a long time ago, right? Yung mga ano
Last
beyond the
century.
millennials,
Uh,
way before the millennials were
right.
born. But let me know what was the journey like in the beginning up until you decided to end your contract or visa.
Right.
Could you share that?
So I'll go first na lang.
Okay.
So my journey was a bit in the my first J1 journey was a bit traumatic for me. Uh since remember I told you that I considered myself a late bloomer in terms of going to America because for I guess like 5 to 6 years prior to my going there, a lot of my friends and a lot of my workmates and a lot of people that I went to college with were already in the States during that time. So, uh, ang mga expectations ko dati is that when I go to the United States, I'll be at least near all a lot of them, no. But it turned out my first foray in the United States, I was like not near anybody that I knew except for one who was also sabay ko doon sa application na yon. But all of my friends were in California, in Maryland, in New York, in Texas. Ako naman ang naabutan ko was in Kansas. So this was in the middle of nowhere. That was a little bit traumatic for me. I was culture shock. I would say that, and that was one of the reasons why I wasn't able to acclimate ng perfectly in the life in America because it wasn't what I imagined it to be. So if you knew about where Kansas is, it's really ito yung I don't know heartland of America. This is not what you see in the movies with tall buildings and busy streets and noisy cities. It's really where the corns grow, where the cows are, the oil fields are. So
Or
it was
where
tornado
Dorothy is.
country where Dorothy is. So it was really a different place from what I
Mhm.
imagined America to be. So I actually didn't see a tall building after 1 year pa. So when we had a cross country trip to Las Vegas, that's my first time ever seeing a tall building, and that was when I finally said, "Oh, nasa Amerika na ako." When I saw Las Vegas, that was the main parang problem. So it was really a very difficult time for me. So I was missing my family a lot because my sister was in the States, but she was in another state. I was missing my friends a lot too because I can only like call them but not be with them. I was missing Philippines a lot because I left a very nice job in Cebu when I decided to move to the States. So that's where I wasn't able to finish my first J1 contract. I left before parang ended. So but during my second time, I decided that I gave up on my first try, like very fast. So parang na-guilty ako that I wasn't able to complete the contract. So part of the reason why I decided to try it a second time was really to prove to myself kaya ko namang tapusin yung kontrata na yan. And I did. I actually ended up like doing much more because I extended my J1 visa up until to 5 years. But
Mm.
actually that was also parang accidental lang din because I didn't go to the States. I didn't enter on a J1 visa the second time. I was actually doing a different type of visa. I was already in the States and I was doing something else, but the way that I could stay longer was again to apply for a J1 visa. So I kind of, you know, thought I just parang wing it with the J1 visa and but eventually I did not decide to stay. I could have stayed but decided not. So in the end, I think my second time was like more fruitful and more satisfying because I learned so much from the schools that I was working for. I went luckily to a district that had a lot of opportunities for me in terms of training and exposure. Same with naman doon sa, ano, sa Kansas district. I would say I had a lot more trainings than my counterparts. Like I was amazed when I talked to teachers in California or in New York and would parang compare the trainings that I got and I got more out of it than them. It was more of a ano, more yun nga lang, yung location, I think that was the parang partnering part of it. I wasn't in a great location, but I had more training.
Okay. So just to clarify, for your second tour, no, your
Yes, my
second
second tour.
for your second run of your J1, so you applied for a J1 on your own.
I applied, yes, I applied on my own. So I found not naman on my own. Some friends really helped me find the parang sponsors for the J1 visa. So I knew a lot of other people who were already in the States kasi by the time. So friends also helped me find a location for me where I could teach on a J1 platform.
Mhm. So it can be done to apply
It
for a
can be
J1
done on
visa.
your own. Yes, I
Yeah.
didn't have to pay for anything.
Okay. It can be done.
Yes.
How about thank you, Ren? How about you, CJ? How was your experience with your J1 um when you're doing your first
Journey.
round?
Yeah.
Okay, my first time was during the early part of this century. Since we are talking in terms of centuries,
Centuries.
so
Yes.
I was there during the early years of the century, and I felt that I was fortunate to have been placed in a beautiful city. I mean,
Right.
beautiful state, beautiful city, California. I mean, the district was, should I mention it? But I was in Northern California. Really beautiful place. Very close to California, Silicon Valley. So that part I liked. And then I was with a small group of teachers from the same school district. And almost all of us got along very well. We were very close. So for me, it was a really wonderful experience. And then that was also the year when our school district hired a lot of teachers because from different, I mean, from Spain, from the Philippines, and new grads from the US because they wanted to improve on their
Mhm.
services, especially in special ed, and I think with the second language speakers. So because of that, we received a lot of training. So I liked also that we received a lot of training. I felt that we were well taken care of. But since my plan was to really just experience life in the US, I knew that I would return home. So my mindset really was after 3 years, I would return home. So before returning home, I knew that I would have to apply what I learned. I also took some training that I could bring home. And then, nung nangati ulit yung pa ako, and also, at the time, I didn't really spend that much for the visa. But the second time was so much more expensive. So that was a mistake because when I got to the US, I learned that there were some districts that direct hired me from
Right.
other countries. And all you had to do was pay for your ticket and everything else will be okay. No need to pay for any
My
other.
ticket was paid for by the district.
Wow. Ay, wow. So yun, ako, my friend said all you need to pay for was
The ticket.
the ticket. So
Yeah.
mali yung second ko in terms of
Right.
paying so much for because I went through an agency. So medyo mali yun
Right.
yung second time ko. Ang mali pa doon yung second part, not really mali. Compared to my first stint, the second was we were in a charter school in Florida and I love the place, West Palm Beach. I love the place, but the school was very small and before the school year ended, the owners decided to close the school. O, di ba? O, di saan na ako? So, hanging. I only had 1 month
Yeah.
with a visa kasi 1 year lang. I mean, I think when you're on a J1 visa, the first valid visa was for only a year and then you need to renew it. O, di ba? Paano ko marirenew kung wala akong trabaho? And then, of course, Elsa to the rescue. She convinced me to try California since I already have an expired, what they call that? Expired.
License.
Yes.
Yeah. You already had a work history with them.
Yes, but syempre, good girl ako. I wanted to try Florida, but then I tried mga 30 schools. I don't know, pero talagang,
Right.
no, we don't hire teachers on a visa. And so, I noticed medyo mas lax. Meron areas in California that are lax because of the need for teachers. So sabi, I called up the, California State of
California
Education. They told-
Commission and Teacher Credentialing.
Yes, but yeah, they told me, we can work on that as long as you find a district that will help renew your visa. And
Yeah.
so I applied to a lot of school districts and I concentrated on the small ones thinking that it would be easier. Yung mga nasa disyerto, yung mga hindi kilala. And then Elsa said, try the big ones. And then I did. And totoo pala yun, because the big ones have a department, a visa section. So they really hire teachers from outside the US. And so there, I was able to go to Northern California again. I love big city, closer to Elsa. Yeah. So yon. And then 2 years were up, so balik na naman. Because nga nakatali rin ako sa agency. Parati kang may bayad every year. So sabi ko, that's it. Ayoko na. I could extend, pero sabi ko, it's not worth, paying for an agency when you know you can go back without spending.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
True.
Pagbalik nyo dyan sa Pilipinas, did you prepare yourselves? Were you shocked when you returned? I mean, or did you put measures or work on your mindset na, babalik ako sa Pilipinas, it's not gonna be the United States? I mean, how did you prep yourself? Did you ever prep yourself or you're like, no big deal, I'm going home, you know?